Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Breweries, where we tell the stories behind your favorite beer. This is Sound Guy Ryan, and joining me, as always, is Erica and Matt, and our new friends, Jeff and Carolyn.
Hey!
Hello.
Hello.
I'm so excited for this because, Erica, what are we doing today?
Interviewing a brewery?
Another brewery from
What else are we doing right now?
It's another brewery from another state. This is a pretty big deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is South Dakota.
Yeah, so we got...
South Dakota.
That's right.
Yes.
So we got Rucker up in North Dakota. Now we have
Okay.
South Dakota.
South Dakota.
Crow Peak.
Woohoo.
Crow Peak. Yeah, so we have Crow Peak. What's going on? Thank you for doing this today.
Oh yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I love you guys listened to the instructions. So I appreciate that. I think Ryan, our sound guy, appreciates that mostly. Most of our guests listen to the instructions or actually read it, but it's nice when we were all prepared and we were ready to go, and it was awesome.
Right. Yeah.
So, Erica, Ryan, Jeff, and Carolyn, what have you been drinking? I almost did it. That's my mom's name, Carolyn. I called you Carol. Like, I literally said I wasn't going to do that.
Does she listen to your
The
podcast?
worst.
She'll correct you.
Yeah, the only time she's listened to the podcast is she told me I said cool too many times, and
That was it.
that was the best critique she gave me. And I to this day I try not to
funny.
say cool too many times.
You've already said it too many
Yeah.
times. So just
Yeah, it's in my.
That's cool.
Yeah, thank you. So, I've been drinking a lot of smoked lagers. I am probably in the minority of people who love smoked lagers, but this year I've had a bunch of good ones from Notch. Bam Bam came out from our friends over at Sylvaticus down the road from us right now, and we have murmurings of other breweries doing some smoked lagers. I know Four Star Farm is going to be doing a smoked lager.
Jack's Abbey is releasing a special super duper smoked lager.
Oh my God, better than their Smoke and Daggers?
Yeah, it's a smoke and dagger aged in some sort of a barrel.
Over-aged barrel smoking
fun.
lager bullshit.
Fun.
But yeah, that's cool. It's like barrel-aged lagers. Is that why? Barrel-aged fest beer. Why do people do this?
Just
Why
for
not?
fun.
Right.
Why?
Funsy. Beer is supposed to be fun, Matt.
I guess.
That's true.
Next is going to be like smoked sours or something like.
Oh,
I don't want.
ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't want
No,
that.
that
Yeah.
would not be so good.
I
That
know.
sounds like a 10 out of 10. Don't recommend.
Yeah, somebody's listening and somebody's like, that might be a good idea. So look out for it. But other than that, like I have been just looking
You guys
for
went
smoked
to
lagers.
Shoveltown.
We
Yes.
did. Yeah, Ryan and I went to Shoveltown.
That's what I'm drinking right now. I'm drinking their Dock Lager, their Midnight Mug.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, tasty.
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Erica, what about you? I saw you drinking a
What did you say?
cider.
A cider. Yes.
Cider.
Recently I had a cider from Stormalong. That was good.
Stormalong's real good. Yeah.
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 I haven't had too much of the stuff. I just kind of grabbed a bunch of cider recently for fun, and I'm happy that I grabbed. And then, I've gone to a few other breweries. Went to Plymouth,
Yeah, I saw that.
Mayflower, and Second Wind, and Lama Nama, which is super cool. They have a distillery, coffee, and then the beer. They had a great fest beer. It was great.
Love it.
Yeah.
And you did the whole Beverly thing too a couple weeks ago.
And oh my gosh, I've been all
Yeah,
over the
you
place.
did the
I did the beer mile. That
yeah.
was an awesome event.
I'm jealous you had that
highly
cup.
recommend.
Yeah, I'm
the
jealous.
cup was great. The beer was great. Tons of people were there, considering it was like kind of a rainy, miserable day.
Yeah, that's specifically why I didn't go. I was
But
afraid that I was
it
going to
was
melt.
so much fun. It was great. And then the other one I did, what was my other trip recently? I don't know.
Wow, you've went to a lot.
But I've done a lot because I'm trying to get to this. I just did 75 breweries in Massachusetts. So I
Wow.
can get my reward for year 2.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a lot of breweries.
It is.
Yeah.
And there's like 140, almost 200, I think, in Massachusetts. So I've
Whoa.
only really
Over 200.
got a quarter of it,
Yeah.
a third
Wow.
of it. But it's a lot.
Yeah.
That's fun though. I like it.
say.
So, Jeff and Carolyn, what have you been drinking?
You know, I've been hitting the lagers as well. It's kind of weird.
Good.
It's not
good.
weird,
It's
it's
not
great.
weird at all.
It's
We
It's
love
not
it.
weird. It's just, but this time of year when things slow down, summers are obviously our busy time of year, but when things kind of slow down, I tend to hit the brewing the lagers a lot more. So we'll have quite a selection of lagers here in the next several weeks.
Any smoked lagers?
No smoked yet. No,
not
haven't
yet.
had any smoked lagers. But yeah, done some Helles, some Dunkels,
Nice.
some Pilsners. Yeah.
Great styles, yeah.
Yeah.
Carolyn, what about yourself?
I've kind of been hitting the fruity stuff.
Okay.
Cool.
I like, we had a blueberry basil beer on for a while. That was really, really good.
Nice.
And so I hit that one pretty hard. And then we got a strawberry rosemary one.
Nice.
And that's a good one too. And right now I'm drinking a mango. But it's kind of a different style. You can taste the mango in it, but it has chamoy. I don't know if you've ever heard of chamoy.
No.
Oh, Ryan's shaking his head. What's chamoy, Ryan?
I don't know what it is. I've heard of it though.
Yeah. Wait, Carolyn, tell us what chamoy is.
Well, Jeff, pipe in here if you can, but it's ancho chilies and salt, mangoes, lime. Am I forgetting anything? It's basically
It's a blend,
salt.
like a spice blend.
So is it a
it's a spice
goza?
blend.
Chamoy is
No.
Chamoy
It's
is
a
a Mexican sauce that
dipping.
you dip mango in, so it has chili, salt, lime. So we kind of try to replicate that in the
Yum.
beer, and
It turned out really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess in the sense that it has salt in it, you would think of a goza, but it's definitely not a goza. This is a blonde ale.
Oh my
but-
gosh. Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's really good.
All right, we are going to get into all of these styles in the episode, but our listeners are here to learn about Jeff and Carolyn today. So, what is your role at the brewery and your first memory of beer?
Ooh, my role at the brewery is founder, head brewer, owner, and my first memory of beer. Sitting in a high chair and downing the rest of my dad's can of Black Label. That's aging me. I know that's aging me, but
Yeah.
I don't really remember that. I've seen pictures of myself in a high
Nice.
chair downing my dad's Black Label beer, but
Formative times.
Yeah.
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 Carolyn,
Right.
what about yourself, Carolyn?
Well, I do mostly the books here, and I do a lot of setting up of the music, so events and planning, that kind of thing. And I drink a lot of beer. Taste testing.
Yes.
I guess I don't know when my first memory of beer is, but I just remember sitting in the backyard with my dad and his buddy drinking Schlitz, and I'd have a sip here and there.
Yep.
And then, yeah. So, yeah, I guess that kind of ages me a little bit, too.
It's all right. No,
That's all right. We've heard that one before.
we've heard that one for sure.
Schlitz is
Yeah.
a pretty common dad beer, I think.
Probably so.
Yes.
So I'm guessing these formative moments in your life set you up perfectly to open Crow's Peak, right? So you were like, this is exactly what I want to do in life. I had beer from a young age, and I want to open a brewery. Is that correct?
That is. Well, I grew up, my dad was in the military, so I grew up all over the place, including Europe, and we spent a lot of time in Germany and in England. So I kind of gained an appreciation for good beer over there. And then when I came back stateside, the craft brew scene hadn't really happened yet. And so I kind of devolved into drinking domestics for a while.
What was your go-to in those days?
Oh boy, Stroh's.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And then Sierra Nevada, was the big one that I remember drinking craft beer wise, and just really appreciating that beer. And then I got into the homebrew thing, and as so many brewers did, and really enjoyed that hobby and could put out some beers that people seem to enjoy. So I decided to make a go of it and the commercial end of it. And here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carolyn, what about yourself?
Yeah. I didn't really get into craft beer until Jeff started brewing at home. And so it was always really fun to try oh, what are you doing this time? And help the bottling aspect of it was always interesting too.
Yeah.
With the lever and trying to get the lid on. And yeah. And so, yeah, he had some good ones that were, I thought, oh, okay, this is all right.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's really, it's his thing. He's really good at it. And I'm kind of just along for the ride. I mean, my background is completely different than that.
I'm guessing your relationship, are you two married? I don't want to be presumptive, but.
Yeah, we are.
All right, cool. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. So that's really cool. So kind of supporting each other's kind of passion and making this kind of a reality. Outside of home brewing, you said take this professional. Where did you kind of...
Did you cut your teeth anywhere? Or did you just homebrew and then open up Crow Peak?
No. So we were living in San Diego before we moved to South Dakota. And of course, that's a kind of a beer mecca in itself. So we appreciate it, or we enjoyed all the local breweries at the time. And then when we decided to make the move to South Dakota and decided to try and open a brewery here, I went and took the course from the American Brewers Guild. And that was online. The theoretical was all online. And then we went to Sacramento and did some practical brewing at a brewery in Sacramento. I can't remember the name of it right now. And then I did a internship at a brewery in Medford, Oregon. So I wanted to gain the experience of brewing on a big system because obviously it doesn't just correlate to home brewing.
Yeah. No.
And I really didn't want to just delve in and fuck things up and right on.
Right.
So I decided to go that route, and it really did. It really helped me conceptualize the big scale brewing as opposed to home brewing.
Yeah.
In that time, I mean, like you were saying, there were not a whole lot of craft brewers out there. I mean, how did you do it? Like, I mean, there's not many breweries, I guess, to talk to help you.
And especially
it's kind of like just a whole
Dakota
new
too,
thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. South Dakota was a craft brew desert at the time.
Definitely.
What time frame are we talking about? I'm just curious. Like what year?
2007 is when we opened.
Okay.
So yeah. And Carolyn actually has a funny story on the craft beer, the Sturgis Rally story.
Which one is that?
The IPA story.
I don't know. I can't remember it.
We were visiting. We hadn't moved here yet. We went to Sturgis, to the motorcycle rally in Sturgis, and so this was early 2000s. And we walk into some bar there, and Carolyn walks up to the bartender and asks, "So, what do you have for IPAs?" And the bartender's like, "What's an IPA?"
You were better than I do.
Wow.
That's how backwards it was here at the
I don't
time.
even know what that
Beer-wise.
means.
Oh,
What's
my
an
Lord.
IPA?
Yeah. Well,
No.
it was tough when we first opened. I mean, there were a few people who were aware of craft beer, and so they were definitely coming in. But even one of our bartenders is like, "Yeah, I'm a Budweiser drinker,"
Yeah.
and yeah, that was an eye-opening experience for us a little bit too. He's now well into craft beer.
Yeah.
Good.
I would hope so. Yeah.
I mean, this was years and years ago, but yeah. So it's kind of been an interesting experience just watching the change in people, and with the community that we live in, it's a lot of college kids or their parents, actually, because they're not old enough to drink, a lot of them, coming in and drinking and just getting a new appreciation for something other than, the large brew variety that you can get anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun.
Definitely. I want to backtrack just a little bit and talk about some of your homebrewing days. We have a ton of homebrew listeners, and sometimes they're looking to make that jump over to professional. But our homebrew listeners are going to have to wait for a word from our sponsors. So take it away, Sound Guy Ryan, and we'll catch you on the other end.
Did you know that your favorite Massachusetts breweries use hops from a local family-owned hop farm right here in Massachusetts?
Our friends over at 4 Star Farms are there for you whether you're a commercial brewery or a small batch home brewer.
Make sure to head over to their website today and get your hands on some of the best and freshest hops available locally. Cheers.
At our local homebrew shop, Beer and Wine Hobby, you can get everything you need to make beer, wine, cider, cheese, and more. Not sure where to start? They have knowledgeable staff there to help. Beer and Wine Hobby is family-owned and located in Danvers, Massachusetts. Visit their website, beer-wine.com, and use our promo code BREWROOTS for 10% off your online order today.
Shirts on Tap is the box subscription service for craft beer lovers. Each month, Shirts on Tap partners up with 7 different breweries from across the country and collaborates on a sweet custom shirt design. We've been teamed up with Shirts on Tap since the inception of the podcast and are proud to announce a new promo code for all of our listeners. To get your first shirt for $5 off, go to the link in our description below and use the promo code. And remember, drink better beer, wear better shirts. And we're back. So we promised our home brewers and any listener who aspires to open a brewery, what was kind of that like guiding force for you to be like, I know, we homebrew and everyone tells me I have the best homebrew in the world, but I know they're lying to me. So it's like, how do you, when you're doing that, like, how do you solicit honest feedback? Like, did you do competitions?
In a homebrew club, maybe?
Homebrew clubs?
No, I really didn't. I just kind of...
Just believed in yourself.
I did believe in myself, and I was my worst critic too. I mean, if I knew the stuff I was brewing was terrible, I wouldn't, So I don't know. I just did. I started out just like probably every home brewery with the kits, and then move up to making your own recipes, and then doing the all grain brewing, and during that whole progression, I just, would self-critique and have friends drink it. And like you said, they won't always tell you the truth, but I just always did enjoy what I made. And although I knew that the flavor is different in a homebrew setup than you can get in a commercial brewery, I could see that some recipes I had would work in a bigger system, and just took that leap of faith. But again, that's why I decided to take the course through the American Brewers Guild, just so that I gained the knowledge of brewing on a larger scale system, and realizing that, that your brewing efficiency is different, and everything's pretty different. Yeah. So that really helped. And then doing the internship at the brewery in Oregon really helped me, just working on a day-to-day basis on a big system like that, and using that brewer's knowledge to help me conceptualize more what I wanted to do really helped out. I mean, if any advice I'd give to a home brewer who wants to get into the commercial thing would be to take a class, and if possible, do an internship or start working at a brewery and gain that knowledge, because that will make the difference.
Yeah.
Noted.
So why South Dakota?
I actually grew up here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And my family are all here. So we were trying to get out of South Dakota.
San Diego.
I'm sorry, San Diego. the two SDs, right?
Yeah. I had to think about that too.
Yeah. And kind of serendipitously, we met a guy who was on vacation in San Diego. And my background's in molecular biology and genetics. And he says, well, I have a lab in Spearfish, South Dakota. And I said, well, would you give me a job? And he said, sure.
All right. Best job interview ever.
So, after some time, we just decided, okay, well, let's go. And we picked up and sold our house and moved to Spearfish, South Dakota, and I had a job.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I would say spouses of home brewers, significant others, whoever's going to stick around with you, it helps if somebody has a job when you're
For
getting
sure.
started. Yeah, so I worked there for a long time before I started working here at the brewery.
Mm.
And it's a complete flip flop for me. I've never, I'm better in a lab than I think I am sitting at a desk.
Yeah, Carolyn actually did yeast propagation for us when she worked in the lab. So
I
that was
did,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
That's
That's
really
what we were
cool.
gonna
Yeah, I was
ask.
just
Yeah,
gonna
I was
ask that.
curious.
Yeah.
Yep, I did do that. Talked to White Labs a lot
Nice.
on the phone.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. So that was actually really interesting to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's really cool. That kind of like, yeah, it's weird how things happen in life, right? So you're sitting around and someone's like, you walk into a situation you don't even know, and you walk out with a job. It's like, what the hell is this? Yeah.
It was really, really weird.
Yeah.
But hey, it worked out really well.
I'd say.
So Crow Peak, where did that name come from? Is that like a landmark, or does that have any significance?
Yeah, so you can see the picture behind Carolyn. That is actually Crow Peak. That's the
Oh, okay.
and you can see that outside out of our front. We have a balcony, and you can sit on our balcony outside, and it faces Crow Peak. And it was just the major landmark nearest to us, and just kind of had a nice ring to it, Crow Peak Brewing Company. So yeah, that's how we came up with the name.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Jeff's always been into mountaineering as well. So it kind of fit with what your values were in that sense.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Nice.
So,
So taking a community that
Doesn't know beer.
Doesn't
or
know
craft beer, I
beer.
should
Doesn't
say.
know craft beer.
Right.
and you're opening up in 2007, where I'll be honest with you, I mean, the craft beer scene, even in Massachusetts in 2007,
Was pretty young.
Pretty young.
Yeah.
Were those first couple of years, was it scary? I mean, was it?
Oh yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. How did you get people to become craft drinkers?
So I knew right off the bat that I couldn't start just brewing IPAs or, the beers I like to drink.
Yeah.
Right.
So the first beer I brewed on our original system was a pale ale. We call it spear beer. So using Spearfish, kind of using a name to
Lure people in.
lure people in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second one I brewed was our Lookout Lager. And Lookout Mountain is another prominent peak in our area. So I was trying to use names, local names for our beers. And so the group of people that came in, and they were a younger crowd and had some exposure to craft beers, maybe not in South Dakota, but had traveled around enough and were willing to try it out. And we just started getting a kind of a base group of people that came in and supported us and did enjoy the beers. I didn't have any bad beer experiences where I had to throw beer out or anything. So that small base just kind of kept growing and growing. And yeah, it was definitely scary for the first several years. And
Yeah. A lot of word of mouth.
Yeah.
And lab party supplies. Because the lab I worked in, they like to drink beer, and if it was free, it was even better. So
Gotcha.
getting some people involved that way. And honestly, we've had, I don't know how many people in the lab have actually worked here as well as a bartender or something. So yeah, just kind of working together and making sure people can pay their bills, right? You got to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So Spearfish, I'm curious about this community. You mentioned a university or a college that's around the area.
Yeah, Black Hills State University. Okay. It's a very small school.
What else is that area known for, other than obviously these gorgeous landscapes that I see in the background? But
yeah, it's become a real mountain biking destination.
Huge mountain biking.
So there are a lot of good trails in the Black Hills area, and every year they have a 50-mile mountain bike race called the Dakota 5-0, and that we've always supported that. So mountain biking is really big, and then around Spearfish in this whole area, ranching is a big, agriculture is a big deal in all of South Dakota, but ranching's kind of the second biggest. After tourism, I think agriculture is the biggest industry here. So.
Wow. Do you know what number brewery you were in the state when you opened up?
We were number 3 for breweries. The other two,
Holy cow! Wow.
yeah, and the other two were just little brew pubs, and then
Yeah.
we were the first kind of distributing brewery in the state.
Wow.
So.
I'm always curious. We have breweries that open up and small communities in our area. They don't get why to open a brewery. Now, did your community get it at first, or were they confused about it? What was kind of like the idea?
Yeah, they were kind of confused, like when we were trying to figure out the funding of the brewery or financing the brewery, just talking to bankers and talking to people in general. Yeah, they didn't get it. They didn't know what.
Well, yeah, nobody
was
had
going on.
any experience with it.
Yeah, like they had to like look
And-
through these old laws, or like, can we do this? I don't know.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and that was
And
the other thing. The state
the laws were kind of weird.
backwards.
Yeah.
But without any experience with any kind of brewery at all, someone looking at your business like, how are you going to make money?
Yeah.
Right.
So how are you going to stay open? And, I think that's changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
How many?
No, I was gonna say, so like, curious about beer laws. I always like to know, do you have any like really crazy beer laws in South Dakota?
No, I mean they've changed some laws. I mean the biggest one was not allowing self-distribution. And when we started out, we were just a little 5-barrel system, and I always had the dream of being a brewery that could get my beers to other bars, and so I couldn't do that right off the bat because we weren't allowed to do any self-distribution. But once we got more breweries coming in and had more impetus, and it became more of a familiar landscape, then and we have a South Dakota Brewers Guild, so we worked on getting that law changed. But other than that, the laws weren't terrible. I mean, and again, nobody really knew anything when I started, so we kind of just did what we want.
Yeah, right.
Nobody said we couldn't do it. So.
Right. Well, they tried to. I mean, only when we bought the property where we had the old brewery, we didn't realize that there was a covenant on it.
Oh.
And it was no alcohol can be sold from this location.
Oh my gosh.
What? So yeah, we went round and round with that for a little while, and finally talked to the person who actually put the covenant on it, who was an owner like 4 or 5 times removed, not even living in the state anymore.
Jeez.
And he said, "Okay, I'll just have it lifted."
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah.
pain.
we had no idea.
Yeah, that wasn't disclosed to us. When we bought
you
the
think that
property,
would
so it's
be?
like, whoa.
Yeah,
no
and
kidding.
we were very open about what we were planning to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd think it would have come up, but it never did. And
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that was, but it's all fine now.
That's good. That's good.
With agriculture being the second biggest industry in the state, how are you sourcing local ingredients? I mean, are you able to get local ingredients just because agriculture is so big? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, we it's not a big barley growing area,
Yeah.
so we don't get any of that. There are some smaller farms that have started growing hops, so we can source local hops.
Cool.
And then just locally, I do, like every year I do a chili ale, and we get locally grown chilies
Nice.
for that. What else have I? Yeah, whatever produce or we can find that we can use in a beer, we'll definitely source it locally for that kind of thing. So.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm curious if you are canning and how you're distributing, but we have a word from our sponsor. So take it away.
Are you a solo artist, band, podcaster, or anyone else who needs recording services?
Well, we got a place for you where your vision can become a reality.
Welcome to Small Pond Studios, built by hand with heart and sweat equity by musicians for musicians.
Go to smallpondstudios.io to reach out to get more information. And make sure you let them know that Brute sent you. Hey, Sound Guy Ryan here. Didn't know if you heard, but we're a part of the Hopped Up Network. There you'll find other informative podcasts about beer. So go ahead, follow them on social media, and visit them on their website, hoppedupnetwork.com, to learn more about the people, beer, and breweries from around the country. And until next time, thanks for listening. Cheers.
All right, we're back, and I love knowing more about like the area and so on and so forth. But I'm curious, are you guys canning right now? I know you said you started on a 5-barrel system when you first
16
opened.
ounce or 12 ounce.
Yeah.
Yep. We are canning 12-ounce cans.
Okay.
Yes, and we distribute throughout throughout the whole state here, and then a little bit in Wyoming. We were distributing some in Nebraska, but then that over in the Lincoln, Omaha area, but that market became so oversaturated, and that's a 10 plus hour drive over there, and we didn't have anybody as the face of the brewery over there, so we just decided to pull back from that one.
Yeah.
We can, with our current capacity, we can keep up in our current market, and don't really feel like we need to move out too much anymore. So we're sitting in a pretty happy place right now.
Nice.
So why 12 ounce cans and not 16 ounce cans?
I think at the time we bought the canning line, the 16 ounces hadn't really been as big of a thing. I mean, they existed, but I don't know. We just decided to go with the 6-packs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what kind of places do you distribute to? Bars, like stores as well?
Yep, we're in bars, we're in grocery stores, gas stations.
We've been told that the 12-ounce can format works much better in the grocery store because it sits better on the shelf. Do you find that to be true?
I do. I think if you go into our local stores, you see a lot more 6-packs than you do the 16-ounce.
4-packs, yeah.
4-packs,
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
When you first opened, you said you were brewing on a 5-barrel system. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Hindsight, when you first opened, do you wish you had a bigger system?
I do, but I also know that we were restricted financially, and also, so that the interesting thing is this 5-barrel system that I picked up was it was up in Deadwood, which is about 20 minutes away from us. You've heard of Deadwood, South Dakota, I'm sure.
Sure, yeah.
So there was an old brewing system up there from years and years ago, and it was originally, I think it was an old German system, and it's an old electric brew house, really ancient. But I picked it up for a song, so that's what we were brewing on, and still actually brew. That's kind of our pilot system right now. So it really worked for us financially then, and then we were able to, in 2 years, we did take on some partners, but we were able to build our bigger brewery and bring in our 30-barrel system. So it actually did work out, yeah. And that was
upgrade.
a big jump.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So pilot stuff, what are you brewing on your pilot system?
Most of the just small batch stuff so we have 3 year-round beers, our IPA, 11th Hour IPA, our Canyon Cream Ale, and our Piloted Porter. And so all just the small batch things I'm still brewing over there. And then if it's, successful, if people really enjoy it, then we'll turn that into a seasonal and brew it on our biggest system over here. So.
Yeah.
Nice.
Those 3 flagships, a cream ale. Let's talk about that. Not a lot of breweries have a cream ale as their flagship. Yeah. Did that just take off early, or is that something that came on years later?
Yeah, that was one thing on the outset, I knew that this being Bud Light country.
I was going to say,
I had to brew something that would be palatable to that kind of clientele. And people still come in and they either like the IPA or they like the cream ale, and the porter's more of our winter style.
Right.
People drink it year round, but more of that gets sold in the
of
colder
course.
months.
Yeah.
Nice.
You mentioned the other offerings.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Carolyn.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, I was going to just say with the cream ale too, we use honey in it, and all of the honey is locally sourced as well.
Wow.
That's
So,
cool.
That's kind of nice. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
An aside.
No, it's perfect. The IPA, is that more of a West Coast style? Just being on the West Coast?
Yep, sure is.
Do you brew more West Coast styles, or have you dabbled in like the New England style? Or what's your opinion on hoppy beers? I mean, not hoppy beers. I'm sorry, hazy beers.
Hazy beers. You know, I've brewed several of them, and they seem to go over well here. I mean, it's definitely I think it's an overbrewed in general.
Yep.
I think, but it's a nice alternative. I still like a West Coast style. I just like the hoppy,
the bitterness,
the bitterness to it, and all that. But I do appreciate hazies as well. I just won't overdo them.
If you think they're overdone out there, come to the East Coast.
I'm sure.
Yeah. What kind of do you find yourself looking at, like the San Diego scene and seeing, these pastry stouts, or you see these crazy milkshake IPAs, lactose IPAs? Do those trends kind of
fall off
by the time they come to you, or like what's one of those trends that you saw and you're like, that's fucking crazy, I hope it never comes here?
Both the pastry and the milk.
Milkshake. Yeah,
milkshake
milkshakes.
IPAs. I've never. I mean, that was something I would personally never brew myself. I know other breweries in the state have delved into that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the IPA category has become so huge that I don't know. It seems like out of control.
Yeah.
It is. Every week, every month, there's something new, I feel like.
And it can be like meddled in the GABF now.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how many breweries are there now in South Dakota? Or
there
ballpark,
are over 30 now, I know.
Wow.
32, I want to say, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like every year there's one or two new ones at least.
That's awesome. Are there more in your area now?
Yep. There are 3 in Spearfish now.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then in Rapid City, I don't even know how many they have now.
Probably at least 10.
Oh, wow.
At least 10. Sturgis has one. Yeah. So it's
That's awesome.
It's really been cool to see the growth in the state. When I was one of the few here, and just seeing the growth has been really cool. I mean, I've enjoyed it.
Have you become like the brewery that like everyone reaches out to now?
Yeah. But I've also enjoyed that. And the people I've helped out, I mean, we're lifelong friends.
Of course.
And I see that they've succeeded, and I'm just like, I'm really thrilled that it's become that way here. Because from San Diego, where there were so many breweries to come in here, where there were 3 with me, and then now there are that many. It's been really cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned that strawberry rosemary beer. Where do you get inspiration for beers like that? And are you like a foodie, or what's kind of the?
That was actually my assistant brewer came up with that recipe. So he's no longer working here, unfortunately, but Adam, he was a high school student, and he did a shadow day with me when he was a senior in high school, because he was always kind of into the brewing thing. And then
wait,
when
that's so cool that he got to do that in high school. He must have been like the coolest kid.
Yeah. So then when he graduated, he ended up taking a brewing course over in the UK. He actually flew over to the UK and spent I can't remember a semester or whatever over there learning how to brew. And then when he got back, he became my assistant brewer, and he was very creative, and so he came up with the strawberry basil, or the strawberry rosemary, and the blueberry basil.
Wow. It's so funny brewing things that he couldn't even legally enjoy.
Right.
Yeah.
But legally he could brew it.
Right,
He just couldn't drink it.
Just couldn't drink
So funny.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Was that?
And he's very creative. He's come up with one beer which we brewed again. He's had 2 stints at the brewery. So when he first started working here, he was here for 3-4 years or so.
Yeah. Yep.
and then he moved away. And about 5 years later or so, he came back and needed a job. So we took him on again because he was great. And there was one that he brewed his first time here. We called the Ancient Mariner. And it's it's got Old Bay seasoning.
What?
And yes, and chai.
Oh my gosh.
It's a weird combination, but it is so good.
What is the beer style?
It's a red ale.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so people were asking after he had left the first time, when are you going to brew that again? When are you going to brew that again? And we thought, well, probably not ever. But then he comes back and like, Adam, you have to brew that again. So, yeah, we did. And people love it just as much as they did the first time.
That's such
cool.
an interesting ingredient because I always associate Old Bay with like crabs and shellfish.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Super
And
salty.
again,
Yeah.
it gives the beer like a hint of spiciness to it. And then you get the chai coming in there too. So it's got a very interesting flavor to it. But
that sounds so interesting.
yeah.
Something to try one day.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're the head brewer, Jeff. Do you have any other assistant brewers right now?
I do. I have one assistant brewer right now, and then actually my youngest daughter, who just turned 21, she this summer has been helping out and kind of learning to brew and helping out with canning, all aspects of it. Yeah. So that's really fun to do that. And then my older daughter worked here for a while as well, so we're keeping it kind of in the family.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do they enjoy it?
Somewhat.
Yeah, some aspects of it.
Yeah.
They do. They obviously like the brewing part of it, the canning.
The canning's the worst part. Yeah.
So they're both very creative as well. So it's kind of fun. Just my younger daughter, who just turned 21, she actually brewed her birthday beer. So that was pretty cool. It was a chocolate coffee brown ale.
Oh my gosh.
Yum.
That's a good beer. Yeah,
Choice.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
We're always
and
I'm sorry.
they both they came up with the mango beer together.
Oh, did they? That's awesome.
And brewed it together. So yeah, our older
That's
daughter
fun.
actually had been in Mexico, and she's like, "Oh my God, Mom, this is so good." And so they got together and worked out a recipe, and it turned out really well.
Nice. So kind of along those lines, collaboration. Do you guys do any collaboration brews with your local breweries?
Yeah, we have in the past done several. And then we have one planned out to do with one of the other breweries in Spearfish. A mutual friend of ours who passed away a couple of years ago. His wife requested that we do a collab brew to help raise funds for his family or whatever. So that's kind of in the works. It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
But
That's really nice.
We love collaboration brews.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, I think they're fun.
Kind of learn some best practices from each brewery and take something away.
Yeah.
And just see how different
definitely.
it tastes.
Right.
You know, around here, I think we're the only brewery in Spearfish who's on a well.
Oh,
and so
that's
our
water's different. Yeah.
Our water is different. And so when we've done a couple collaborations, it's just interesting to taste the differences amongst the breweries.
Yeah.
And how they've done it and the ingredients. So
do you adjust your water at all, or do you just let it be?
Yeah, we don't have to do any adjustment.
That's awesome.
There's no chlorine or anything in that, so we don't have to worry about that. And it's very hard water, but it's similar to the Munich water profile actually. So
that's pretty cool then.
Yeah, that's convenient.
Lend itself well to those styles.
Yeah,
it's awesome that the town allows that too, because I know some states don't like wells in beer. No, you can't. No, big no. Any food industry wells don't go well together with the health department.
Yeah. you got
and again, this is South Dakota, and nobody knew anything about beer and brewing, so they're like, do whatever you want.
Right. Well, and not only that, I mean, the city boundaries in Spearfish are really convoluted. So we are not officially in Spearfish, even though all of our mail is in Spearfish, everything is in Spearfish. And so I don't, we've never had to deal with the water until we expanded, with our current system. And they said, well, for your building to be approved, you have to go on city water. And we said, well, no, we're not going to do that for the beer.
Right.
And so we have the well water for the beer, and then we have city water for sinks and bathrooms and that kind of thing.
Good
It's just
compromise.
the
They
weirdest
want their
thing.
money. I
Yeah.
see you. I see you.
It's very weird. But if we ever get incorporated into the city, we also made the agreement that we would not go on city water for the beer.
Right.
Good. That's awesome. So what's next for Crow Peak?
Well, we're getting into our slow season. And so that, like I alluded to before, it kind of gives me a chance to play around with new recipes, just because we don't have to keep producing our regular beers and try to keep up during the summer season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nice time for us to kind of play around with new recipes. And
so no plans for any like other expansion, any new fermenters or anything, or?
No, we just underwent our last expansion. Was that 2 years ago or a year? 2 years ago.
2018.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, 2018. So we added two new fermenters and another bright beer tank.
Nice.
So yeah, like I said, we're able to keep up with our demand in the summertime and keep everyone well supplied the rest of the year. So probably no more expansion, at least not in the near future. Just more playing around with new recipes that we might incorporate into a year-round or at least a seasonal canning and packaging and that kind of thing. So we just did a beer. The Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation South Dakota chapter asked us to brew a beer for their banquets that they have here. They have like 20 banquets throughout the state, throughout the year.
Yeah.
And
it's
so,
a big hunting state.
Yeah. So I brewed a Dunkel lager, call it Bugling Bull for, the elk.
Yep.
And
or as some people say, bulging
we're actually going to
bull.
can that.
They can't read.
Yeah. They can't read. Yeah. But yeah, so we're going to can that one. So just doing things like that.
Cool.
We do try to do a lot of community stuff. So just making beers for special events and that kind of thing. It's just kind of a fun deal.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We have a great community here.
Yeah.
Really great. Yeah.
Talk about it for a couple of seconds. Yeah.
It's people are just very nice, and they really help you out with things. So, for instance, Jeff was talking about the mountain bike race, the 50-mile mountain bike race, and so every year we've always done beer for them, and so we donate a lot of it. But then other things too, like there's a thing in the summer, every Wednesday night, there's a free concert in the city park. And so, we've helped raise money for them, and then we'll also hold music here, and that helps us out, that helps them out. We're trying to get a new band shell built in the city park, and almost there with the money. And it's all been privately raised. It's just all people who want to contribute to the community.
Wow.
So
that's awesome that you guys work so well together to, do things that support the community and you guys.
Yep.
They support us just as much.
Yeah.
So it's really nice.
That's something I think I'd like to see a little bit more in our beer scene here. I think a lot of times there's so many breweries now, or even 2 or 3 years ago, it was more community based. Now there's so many breweries. It's hard to not just focus on your own brewery at this point.
Sure.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's not a knock on anyone in the industry. It's you're doing what's best for business and
For your business.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
But it's really refreshing to hear, South Dakota is kind of at a space where Massachusetts was a couple of years ago, and I'm very excited to see what happens next for your state.
I am
the
too.
beer scene.
Yeah, it's always been. I've always said, yeah, we're definitely at least 5 years behind the rest of the East Coast and the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In
but
so many ways.
You're like, you guys are at brewed IPAs right now. No, I'm just kidding. Oh God, if you're at brewed IPAs, just skip it. Just skip that. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I have no plans.
But we want people to go to your area, right? That's the goal of our podcast. So, what is the best restaurant in your opinion in your area? The best. What should we ask Ryan? Or
Dive bar.
Dive bar. And the best activity to do, in your opinion.
Okay,
The best dive bar.
the B.
Oh my
Yep.
God, I love that you guys just went to the dive bar first. Too. You're like, and we know you go there now.
I love it.
Yeah, I'd say that the B&B. Yeah, it's they've got good music and
But
No.
it's
Yeah.
It's a good hole in the wall place that you can enjoy, and everyone knows your name.
Yeah, it's a dark, dingy place. The owner was he a Hell's Angel or?
no, I don't think he was.
Friends with them anyway.
Yeah.
It's a biker bar.
It's a biker bar. But
This is a biker area.
Because of Sturgis.
Both- yeah,
Sturgis.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, our daughter's a biker. I mean, not like that, but yeah, she rides too. Yeah, so that's
Okay.
I would say there.
The B.
Yes.
The BB.
The B.
Best restaurant,
Killian's.
Killian's. Yep.
Ooh, tell us more about
Yeah.
Killian's.
It's just a good place. It's nice people and good food.
Irish food?
and-
Sounds like an Irish place, maybe.
No,
No.
not
Like an
so
American,
no,
just an
no.
American tavern or something.
Oh, yeah. Maybe just.
Kind of,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Okay.
it's a kind of a tavern with, but he has some very unique recipes. It's not like
dishes.
he has burgers and all that, but he has some very good unique.
Okay.
Other offerings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
They have a good, very good beer selection there. And
Awesome.
Yep, they do.
You guys are on tap there, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, we are.
Good. Good.
So are all the other local breweries
Yeah.
too. I mean,
Yeah.
they're pretty supportive of all the
That's
local
awesome.
beer.
Love it. And then
And,
the best activity.
best activities.
Yeah. Like, what's the go-to thing that you have to do when you go to Spearfish?
A lot of people go hiking or mountain
Hiking or mountain. I'd say mountain
Yeah.
biking.
Yeah.
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 And then in the winter, there's cross country skiing or downhill. We do have a little down area in the
Yeah, there's
area. So yeah, that's
So it's not just all flat. So there's some skiing.
yeah. We're actually the only
the Black-
place in the state that has hills.
All right. Nice.
So yeah, we're in the Black Hills.
Yep.
Yep.
So-
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, Eric
Yeah.
and Ryan, I think we have to break out our mountain
Sold.
bike and
Bike there.
bike
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
And then
We can do it. If we
Yeah.
start now, we can make
we'll
it.
be there by March if we start.
Yeah.
We'll see you in March.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll see
let
in
us know
March.
if you need a place to stay.
We will. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe April.
Get training by September, and you can do the Dakota 5-0.
Oh,
There
boy.
you go. Yeah.
I might do the
But you have to.
I might
yeah,
do
you
the
have to
Dakota
register by
05.
April.
Yeah,
Okay,
05.
Yeah, do they have the 05?
there
I
is-
think I could only handle
That's
5
where
miles.
the brewery. The .5.
The .5, Dakota
The
.5
Dakota
is a,
.5 is at the brewery.
There you go. Sold.
Yeah,
We can
it's
do
a
that.
or it's a biking brew pub crawl on your bike. So
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
But we
like
do
that.
a fundraiser here every year. It's the Dakota 0.5.
I love it.
Love it.
I love
Yeah.
it.
That's great.
Well, Jeff and Carolyn, I'm so excited for the beer scene in South Dakota, and I'm so excited to see what's next for y'all in that area because it really reminds me of what it used to be here
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, and it's always fun to hear about some laws, and it's good to hear that you guys don't have to fight too many laws because you're kind of just pioneering the way. So
yeah, it's been a good ride,
been
really.
good.
It has.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
yeah,
We love it.
Erica, Sangha, Ryan, you have any more questions?
Good to go.
Good to go.
Got
Well,
All right.
we want all our listeners to go to Crow Peak in Spearfish, South Dakota.
Yes.
Make sure you're there. Make sure you say hi to everyone because everyone seems super nice. And we hope to make our way out there at some point in our
great.
history. So we'll see you there, and enjoy. Have a great weekend and stay safe. Cheers.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
All right.